Hey guys, this is Miss Hart-Townsley, and I just wanted to give you guys a quick tutorial over the 5.02 evolutionary relationships, the graphing portion, and the submission. And so the first thing I want to remind you is that as you go through the modules, you should be reading through each page individually and taking notes and participating in the interactive modules. But once you do get to the last page, which in this case is page number 6, you will see that underneath the summary you have a natural selection lab assignment. This is actually a simulation that you're going to do at home, and I'm going to open up that link so that you can see the expectations. All right, so here's my assignment link, and it tells me everything I need to do. It actually tells me the different parts of my lab report, and it looks like I'm going to do a procedure. I'm going to collect data, make a graph, and then answer the conclusion questions based on that data. Okay, so the first thing that I suggest you do is to take a copy of your lab, okay, and you can do that by highlighting, selecting it all, or Control A, and then you make a copy of it, and you make put it on your notes. So I'm going to go to my Evernote application. I'm going to make a new note, and so it popped up on my other screen. Let me pull it up here for you guys. All right, so there's my new note. I'm going to title it with the assignment. Oops. 5.03 Evolutionary Relationships. Okay, I'm going to be sure to make sure it's in my notebook and not just, or excuse me, in the shared notebook. And at this point, I'm going to push Control V or paste the entire lab in there. Okay, so now you know you have the whole thing. This way you don't have to worry about attaching Word or PowerPoint or any other kind of document. Okay, and so as I read through the expectations of the lab, it tells me what my procedure is, and I'm going to be collecting data. So right now, I'm just going to minimize this. I'm going to get my Google Sheet ready to collect data. And so I go to a brand new Google Sheet, and I know that the title of my graph, what I'm going to be doing is collecting the population of the frequency. And so I'm just going to say population of, and I'm going to call them species because they're different colors. Right, and then my independent variable in this laboratory or simulation is going to be the colors. And so what I'm doing is I'm using a student's previous data from this lab, and it looks like the colors that were chosen were yellow, purple, green, blue, and orange. Okay, I also know that I'm going to be tracking these species over 3 generations. So here's the start. Then I'm going to have a Gen 1. A Gen 2, and a Gen 3. Okay, so just a couple of things that I would like to do on my spreadsheet is I want to make a title. So I'm going to go and insert a row above, and then that's where I'm going to put my title. Excuse me, population of species. Okay, and then I also like to center mine. You don't have to, but we might as well get into good habits. And so you take all these cells, you merge them, and then you can center your text. Okay, so now it's time to enter data. Before we get started, the last thing I want you to make sure you do every time you open up a Google Doc is to decide the title and to modify the sharing settings. And so I'm going to go ahead and put the title in there. And then I will modify the sharing settings to where anybody with my link, if I want to share this, I'm going to give the person the link, and they can see it. So I say get shareable link. I use the menu, the drop-down menu, to select more, and then it's the second from the top. It says anyone with the link can view. Okay, so that way when I'm done with my spreadsheet and I share it, anybody that I share it with has the appropriate privileges to open it. So here we go. Like I said, I'm using a previous student's data, but I know that every generation is going to start with 20 organisms, and so I'm just going to copy that down. And then in generation 1, I'm looking at 17 and 25. Generation 2, this is going a little bit faster than it will with you guys. You guys would actually be collecting the data as you go, and excuse me. So it might take you a little bit longer, but this is for demonstration's sake. 34, and last but not least, in generation 3, we have 28. I keep doing that instead of pushing enter. 28, 6, 11, 19, and 36. Okay, so now I have all my data. Remember, my Evernote note already contains all my procedures and everything, and so now all I want to do is get to my data table and my graph. And so I'm going to select the data table. You can, a couple of things that can make it look more like a data table is getting those grid lines to show. And then I'm going to go to Insert, Chart. Okay, it pops up with a bar graph. We know a bar graph is probably not the best graph to show change over time, so we go to Chart Types. All right, I'm going to make sure I switch my rows, and then I'm going to choose Line Graph. Okay, and so it looks like I've got a little bit of customizing I need to do. I need to label this vertical axis, and I need to change these colors. Okay, but otherwise I definitely have some good data here, excuse me, a good trend line. So I'm going to go to Customation, and I'm going to change my title. What I name it, population. I'm actually going to change the word to frequency, because that's what it is, frequency of colors. All right. The legend is fine. Let's go to the axes. The horizontal axis is fine, but I do need to change the vertical to frequency. Right, and then I need to get those colors to match up with my lines. And so I'm going to come all the way down here to series. And I'm going to click on each series. So this is the yellow data, and I'm going to assign it a yellow color. Same with the purple data, assign it purple color. Green data is going to get that good green color, so on and so forth, blue, and finally orange. Okay, so now as I look over here, my data is represented not only by a line that shows change over time, but it's also color coded, which is very helpful when reading the graph. All right, so I'm going to click on Insert, and then I will use my mouse to drag it kind of out of the way. All right, remember this is a linked document, and so all I need to do is get my link. So I'm going to go back up here to the blue dot, or the blue button, get that shareable link, so copy link. It says it's been copied to my clipboard. I go back to my note. I'm going to have to pull that up again. It's right here. And so right here where it says Data and Observations, I've already created the data table. I've already created the graph, so I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to plug in my link. So I'm going to call it Table and Graph. Okay, and I'm going to insert a link. So here we go. I'll make that a little bit bigger. So we have all our tools showing. There is a shortcut. It's Control-K to insert a link, but I'll go ahead and use this so you can see that we're, oh, that's the paper clip, excuse me. To go a little bit more to see more of the tools. Oh, they want you to pull it right out of drive. Here. Okay, so we're going to do Control-K, which pulls up a link, and then Control-V, which plugs in that link off the clipboard. All right, so now when you submit this note, I'm going to have that table and graph linked up, and it's already got the sharing permissions allowed. Okay, you're not done yet. You will still have to go through and answer these questions in complete sentences, and please make sure you answer those questions based on the data. Okay, so I can tell already from this data that the background was probably a orangish color, maybe a yellow-orange, because these are the two colors that were able to, that blended in the best. Okay, and so you're going to be able to make assumptions, or excuse me, make inferences about your data the same way. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful. Have a great day, and if you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks.